Hello and welcome to ScreenBlitz, the weekly film and television show giving you all the top news, views, reviews, previews, features, opinions and more that you need to know. I'm your host Grant Burton. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @the_Grant Burton, or you can go to thoughtsbygrant.wordpress.com for all of my written reviews. On today's show, I'm going to review Tomb Raider, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and of course I've got the news and a bunch of trailers because it is San Diego Comic-Con. With it being San Diego Comic-Con, I'm recording this on a Saturday, so chances are I'm going to miss out quite a few things that are yet to come. That can't be helped, but I'll hopefully get them next week. If you haven't noticed, I'm also wearing glasses this week. Yeah. Turns out 9 years ago when I was diagnosed with cancer, I should have had an eye test, but nobody bothered to tell me that. So, yeah. God only knows how long my eyes have actually been as bad as they are, but moving on, we start each and every week with the news. The first item this week is the Uncharted Fan Film starring Nathan Fillion. If you don't know what Uncharted is, it's a major video game series and it's ripe for becoming a film. They are currently making one at Sony starring Tom Holland as a young Nathan Drake, and there's some hope and potential in there, but Nathan Fillion, about 10 years ago, was the ideal person to play Nathan Drake. He's perfect for it. If you look at him in Firefly and Serenity, that's Nathan Drake. So now he's came out and he's done a full-on Uncharted fan film. I don't know who made this film exactly. I don't know who directed this or anything, but the film's actually pretty good. It's about 15 minutes long. It takes the characters from the video games, the style, the tone, the action. Nathan Fillion is perfect as an older Nathan Drake. And that's the thing. Right now, Nathan Fillion can only play an older Nathan Drake. Because, well, he's aged. Yeah, he's not the young guy he once was. And he's also put on some weight after Serenity. So, he's not perfect for the role. But, if anything, this shows that he could still do it. And I want to see more. I want to see him do a full-on Uncharted film. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think this is going to convince Sony to change their mind on Tom Holland, but hey, you never know. Next up, another problem there. There we go. This is from Joe Otterson at Variety. Batwoman series is in development at the CW. The character will make her debut in the annual CW DC show crossover event next season. So, this means she's going to be in the same universe as Arrow and The Flash and The Legends of Tomorrow. Supergirl is in the multiverse, so she's kind of only tangentially connected to this, and Black Lightning isn't connected at all, as far as I'm aware. So, another superhero show. Yay! That's sarcasm. We do not need another superhero show. That being said, Batwoman will be right at home at CW. She's the first openly gay DC comic book character, and I believe now the first openly gay DC comic book character to get a TV show or a film. I could be wrong there. Yeah, I might have to double check that. But CW is all about their inclusivity and their diversity, so this makes perfect sense for them to do that. What's interesting about this is you have Batwoman in this show, so does that mean that Batman exists in this universe? Does that mean you've got all of the rogue gallery like Joker and Harley Quinn? Do they exist? So far, thus far, we've only had little hints of these characters. This pretty much just says, yeah, they exist, but we have no interest in showing you them. Of course, there are actually legal issues that prevent us from having a Batman appearance. But it opens up more hope, more possibilities for that in the future. For this show to be a success, I think it really needs to be different, because a lot of these superhero shows now are just kind of doing the same thing. It's about a team of superheroes stopping a different villain each week. There's an overarching plot, but they're just typical crime stories, nothing spectacular. And Batwoman needs to do something different in order to stand out and be worthwhile. And I'm not convinced it will. Moving on. This is again from Joe Otterson at Variety. Vampire Chronicles series in development at Hulu. Brian Fuller was attached to the project, but he left earlier this year. It's produced by the original novel writer Anne Rice and her son Christopher Rice, who wrote the script for the pilot. And if this sounds familiar, it might be because there was a film quite a while ago now, in the 90s, I want to say, with I've actually got a still from here right next to me. And that's Interview with a Vampire with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, which is actually a really good film. I'd recommend you check that out if you haven't seen it already. And yeah, Hulu's a good place to have it. They do big budget, well, big-ish budget shows. They're really climbing up well, the likes of The Handmaid's Tale. So yeah, a lot of potential here. I'm looking forward to seeing this. They obviously want it to be their Game of Thrones because there is a big series of novels here. And yeah, the fact that they've got a good film out of this already shows that this can become something of value. Next up, Dan Sneerson at EW says Better Call Saul will show scenes set during Breaking Bad. So this obviously opens up the possibility of Walter White and Aaron Paul's character Jesse Pinkman showing up in Better Call Saul. I think that's a mistake. Better Call Saul should be its own thing, separate from Breaking Bad. Yeah, it leads up to it, but you don't need to be cramming in all these Breaking Bad references and characters just for the hell of it. And in the past, they've been very smart about it, so I do have faith in them. But this sounds like they're losing touch with what Better Call Saul should be. Of course, we don't know the exact specifics of what this is yet. I imagine it's just going to be short little sequences with Saul Goodman, perhaps set during season 1 because he's not actually in season 1. But yeah, time will tell what this becomes. And it should be noted that Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul have both expressed interest for quite a while now that they want to be in this show, but they shouldn't be in the show. Yeah. So keep the show separate and keep building up to Breaking Bad. It feels like they're really rushing towards it now as well. They're coming towards the end game, which is weird because time has passed slowly in this series, and yet it's supposed to be like 2002, which is like 8 years before Breaking Bad or something like that. So yeah, how are they going to do a time jump or something that makes sense? Especially if they're going to go right into Breaking Bad. Final news story of the day is the big one for me. Star Wars The Clone Wars is returning. That's right, at the 10th anniversary of the show at San Diego Comic-Con, new footage was shown from the series that was cancelled back in 2013. It should not have been cancelled, this is a brilliant show. The new season will consist of 12 episodes, it will be released in 2019 on Disney's streaming service, and it will conclude the series. So, absolutely brilliant, I love this. Star Wars The Clone Wars should not have been cancelled, it was a great show. Some of the best Star Wars stories ever told are in this show. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's aimed at a younger audience, particularly in the first season, but if you get through that, there are really some outstanding episodes and storylines, especially in season 2, and it does get really dark towards the end as well. Not going to spoil anything that happens, but yeah, if you're a Star Wars fan, you definitely have to check this out. It's really underrated, can't wait for some more. Shame it's only 12 episodes, shame that it is the end, and that there's no indication that it could continue beyond this, but hey, the Clone Wars only lasted 3 years, so it can't go on forever. So before I move on to the next segment, which is all about the trailers, now is a good time to remind you to subscribe to my channel. With 100 subscribers, I can get a custom URL, which is a big deal because it makes it a lot easier to spread the word and to share across social media, because right now I've got this stupid long code URL and yeah, it's just annoying. So help me get to 100, share this across social media, let your friends know about it, maybe they'll be interested if you're not. Give me a thumbs up and leave questions, comments, concerns and topics down below. But on with the show, and we will continue with the trailers. The first trailer was Robin Hood. I forgot this film was even being made. Like, this has flew under the radar, and I think this is even the second trailer for it. I have no idea where the first one was, but I'm not interested in this film at all. I watched it, it looks like they're focusing on action and style rather than character and story. But then again, we all know the Robin Hood story, so there's not much they could actually do there. I like the cast. Taron Egerton looks the part. I like Ben Mendelsohn. He's a fabulous actor. He's playing the Sheriff of Nottingham, and Jamie Foxx is Jamie Foxx. Don't really care much about him. It's clearly not going for historical accuracy though, although Robin Hood was fake, so yeah, maybe not necessary. And it's doing its own thing, but yeah, the best Robin Hood film is the Disney one, the animated film. You know, so I don't see the point in this. Yeah, and wasn't the last Robin Hood with Russell Crowe really bad? Yeah, don't do this. Moving on now to Overload. This is basically World War II with zombies, and it may or may not be connected to the Cloverfield franchise. Originally it was, but there's no Cloverfield in the name, there's no hint of it anymore. I'm not sure if it's still meant to be connected at all, but hey, the trailer looks pretty good. Like, it's going to be a silly action horror film, there's no doubt about that. It's zombies in World War II, but the trailer had AC/DC music with it, so that's a win for me. I love AC/DC, but yeah, this film looks a lot of fun. And I don't really want it to be in Cloverfield. It'd be nice if it is, but the Cloverfield Paradox, I actually quite like that film. The actual elements that linked it to Cloverfield felt forced, and maybe don't do that with this if it's not necessary. Final, no, not final. Second to last trailer is Bohemian Rhapsody. This is a biopic about Queen, or is it about Freddie Mercury? That's the question. I'm not sure. Is this film focusing on the band or the individual? I think if it focuses on both of them, the film could be a little jumbled and it might lose focus and attention at points. But the trailer has the benefit of being cut to some of Queen's best songs, so it's a hit already. Powerful soundtrack. It looks okay. It looks like a biopic. You know what you're gonna get from this. And Rami Malek, you can see the picture here. He looks like Freddie Mercury. So they've got that going for them. Now for the final trailer. Titans. This is DC Universe's streaming service exclusive show, and I did not know what to expect from this. This, I think, would be the biggest selling point of the streaming service. This is the big show that they've been touting, that they've been producing and building up to, and wow, this trailer was bad. Yeah, it's dark and gritty. It looks like it's got the aesthetics and style of the DCEU, which isn't good because no one really likes the DCEU. And I didn't realize how adult this was going to be. I thought this was going to be like the CW shows. I thought it was going to be family friendly, cheerful superhero fun, but no, it's dark, it's serious, there's swearing, there's really violent action, and it just didn't feel right. It felt like a fan film made this, and it didn't feel like a full-on big TV show. It feels a little cheap. But I like the guy who's in the main role as Robin, or as Dick Grayson. I'm hoping he becomes Nightwing at some point, because the Nightwing character is far more interesting than Robin, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know much about the Teen Titans, or whatever. It's an area of DC I'm not that interested in, so the other characters I've got no reference to. But yeah, it took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting the violence, I wasn't expecting the bad language. I don't mind it. I want to make that clear. I've got no problem with swearing or violence or bad language. I just generally did not see it coming. And yeah, it does not make me want to subscribe to this service, which, you know, is a big problem because this is probably the big selling point that they've got going for them right now. Now I'm moving on to a big topic of the week. This week, it's the 10th anniversary, the 10th birthday of The Dark Knight. If you remember, The Dark Knight is probably one of the greatest films ever made. It's certainly one of the best superhero films ever made. It redefined the genre. I don't think we're ever going to see a superhero like it again. We're definitely not going to see a Batman film like it again, although people have and will try. I just don't see it happening. This film is just amazing. Christopher Nolan at his best, directing wise. I say at his best. This isn't my favorite Christopher Nolan film. My favorite is Inception, but he does a brilliant job here. And you might notice I haven't even mentioned Heath Ledger yet, because Heath Ledger is by far the outstanding element of this film. Arguably one of the greatest performances in cinema history. He won a posthumous, is that how you pronounce it? He posthumously won an Oscar for his role in this film, and rightfully so. It's my favourite interpretation of the Joker. I absolutely love his performance. But let's not forget Christian Bale. He plays Batman and Bruce Wayne. His performance is great in this as well. In fact, there isn't even anyone that does anything wrong. It's just Heath Ledger is so good at what he does. Bizarrely, the film was snubbed at the Oscars with the exception of the Heath Ledger win. And since then, the Oscars have tried to change some of the rules a bit, because this was a huge error. This film should have been at least nominated for Best Picture that year, but it wasn't. I think this shows that the people who go to these awards and who actually nominate the films are of an older demographic. They are of old-fashioned Hollywood, and we're only now starting to see things change a bit with younger people coming in, people of diversity, different ethnicities and sexualities, and so on and so forth. And it's a shame that this film was released 10 years ago, because I think if it was released now, it would get a nomination, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. It definitely deserved a nomination. A little trivia, it was also the first film to be partially filmed with IMAX cameras. I love IMAX. IMAX is the best way to film a film now. Big quality cameras, big quality picture and sound, but they are cumbersome, they are heavy and difficult to work with, which is why you only get partial elements shot in IMAX. Although I think now you're getting much more done in the format. So that's the big topic. Dark Knight's 10 years old. Give it a watch if you haven't already for some bizarre reason, or just go back and watch it again in celebration, because it's a damn good film. Also, shout out to The Dark Knight Rises. A lot of people look down on that film, but that's a good film too. Not as good as this, but it's good. Now on to reviews. This week I've got two things to review. The first is Tomb Raider. You can catch my full thoughts on this in a written review on thoughtsbygrant.wordpress.com. In short, I was surprised by how much I actually like this film. It's not a good film by any means, but it's really fun, really exciting, some great action scenes in there. It puts style and action over character and story, which is a little problem. And there's one scene in this film, light spoilers, this is revealed in the trailers and it's taken straight from the video game that it's based on, so yeah, light spoilers. Laura, when she kills her first person, she is clearly emotional and upset by it. You can see the tears in her eyes and she's about to have a moment, but no, all of a sudden she gets her attention taken from her and she's sprinting off into the next little set piece. It's annoying how they just do this over and over again. They've got these moments where they could really explore the character in detail and make the film so much better if they do that, but it's like they're scared to just slow things down, and they're scared to actually make this film about more than just the action, and that's a little annoying. But like I said, the action is good. There's a lot of great invented set pieces. Most of them are taken from the video games. I actually like the way that it adapted some of the elements from the video games. The actual gameplay is adapted really quite well, and the big problem with the film though is the dialogue. The dialogue is silly, it's cheesy. The story as well is just a rip-off of like Indiana Jones, and you've got these big name actors and stars, and even they can't save some of the dialogue. It's really full of exposition, full of explanation, and it just doesn't feel natural or real. There are some little bits where it does come across as okay, but yeah, the dialogue's forgettable, it's silly, it's cheesy, it makes the film worse than what it is. And yeah, visually the film is really quite good looking, particularly once you see the shipwreck scene and it goes onto the island. Very picturesque, very colourful. I quite liked it. Again, this is not a good film by any means, but it's surprisingly entertaining, surprisingly fun. I would say one of the best, if not the best, video game adaptation we've had so far. So, yay, we finally had one. Maybe, maybe not. You can be the judge. Brooklyn Nine-Nine Season 5. It recently wrapped up here in the UK, and this is probably, I would say, the best season so far. Some really outstanding episodes. I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of the best comedies on TV right now. It's overlooked quite a bit. It's very underrated. When we had when the show was cancelled earlier this year, there was fan uproar across Twitter, and then in like 24 hours they brought it back. Of course, it wasn't because of the fan uproar. I honestly believe that it was already planned. Fox cancelled it, and they knew NBC was going to come in and pick it up. I'm almost convinced of that, because just the speed in which it happened. There's no way they could negotiate that deal in such a short amount of time, I don't think. But again, I'm not a businessman, I don't run these networks, so maybe they did, I don't know. But yeah, glad it's coming back for a sixth season. This season, the best in my opinion, and one episode in particular, starring Sterling K. Brown, is really different. It's focused entirely in an interrogation room about interrogating this individual. Really creative, really funny, and yeah, if you're not watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, give it a go. It can sometimes be a little silly, but that's part of the charm of the show, and I really like this. And yeah, next season, sixth season, I believe has 13 episodes. A little disappointing because it normally has 22. Maybe that means the next season will be the last. Maybe it is going to be just one last hurrah. I don't know. But if the show was cancelled, this very well would have been a suitable end. But yeah, it feels like the show's in its prime and it shouldn't be going anywhere. And that's all I've got today. If you've liked it, I'll appreciate it if you subscribe. If you gave me a thumbs up, that'd be great too. Share this across social media, there might be people that like it. And leave questions, comments, concerns, topics down below. I'd really appreciate any support you want to give me. I'm Grant Burton. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _Grant Burton. Or you can go to forcedbygrant.wordpress.com for all of my written reviews. This week I wrote a review of Tomb Raider. You can check that out there. And yeah, I hope you've liked the show. If you haven't, sorry, I do my best. San Diego Comic Con is in full swing right now. I'm recording this on a Saturday. I believe it finishes tomorrow. I could be wrong about that. There were a lot of other trailers and reveals this week, like Mayans MC, the Sons of Anarchy spin-off. I don't particularly want a Sons of Anarchy spin-off, but hey, it's happening. It looks okay. Nothing special. I'd probably give it a go. There was also another trailer this week. Star Trek Discovery released a trailer earlier today or last night. That looks fun. Yeah. Captain Pike's back. That's great. And what else was there? Oh yes, the news story which wasn't in this is James Gunn was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is only like a few weeks after he submitted the script for the film, and like a month or two before he was scheduled to actually make the film. Why was he fired? Well, it turns out on Twitter a few years ago he was posting some really inappropriate jokes about pedophilia and so on and so forth. I don't know the specifics of it, but it turns out if you do something inappropriate or bad, you're gonna get punished for it. Yeah, why can't people just be good and nice? It's a shame, especially because James Gunn is a very talented, very well-liked, very good filmmaker. The first two Guardians of the Galaxy films are really good. Arguably some of the best in the MCU. So what's going to happen with number 3? They're probably going to bring in another director. Will they still work on the script that James Gunn has wrote? I don't know. Time will tell. Will we still want to see a Guardians of the Galaxy film without James Gunn attached to it? Again, time will tell. This did literally just break last night, and he was actually scheduled to be at Comic-Con to do a panel, so now that's not happening. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But that's the show I've got for you today. I'm Grant Burton. Hope you've liked it. I'm out.